Here are 12 actors who were too old to play their iconic roles. Stay until the top 3. Those will shock you the most. Number 12, Marlon Brando.
Donated all to his country. Now I submit that de Jong had cause for passion, but those are not the views he holds today.
Here is a picture taken just last spring.
2 Academy Awards, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now. By any measure, the greatest film actor of the 20th century. Brando had redefined what screen acting could be across 5 decades.
Look at yourself.
I understand that I must be shocking to you. However, I must...
Then came The Island of Dr. Moreau in 1996. He was 72 years old. He arrived on set having refused to read the script. He refused to learn a single line. A hidden assistant stood just off camera and whispered his dialogue into an earpiece in real time, word by word, throughout the entire production.
Humans and the gods. But it's instinct and reason. What's instinct to a dog?
He wore a white robe and an ice bucket on his head. Not as an approved costume, as a personal decision. During one scene, police radio accidentally fed through the earpiece mid-take. Brando repeated it out loud on camera without stopping. The production descended into chaos. The film was a catastrophic failure. The legend did not survive the footage. Number 11, Bruce Willis.
Get together,
Die Hard, in 1988, turned Bruce Willis into one of the most bankable stars on the planet. $140 million worldwide. John McClane was the everyman action hero audiences would follow anywhere.
Mr. McClane.
My friends call me John.
The cracks appeared slowly. A Good Day to Die Hard, in 2013, received the worst reviews in franchise history. Willis appeared flat, disengaged. Then came the direct-to-video years. Between 2018 and 2022, he appeared in over 30 low-budget films, many shot in under a week. Co-stars and directors began speaking privately about unusual behavior on set, forgotten lines, confusion during simple scenes.
Recently found out that my family is from a little fishing village up in the northeast coast.
In March 2022, his family confirmed the diagnosis, aphasia, a neurological condition affecting language, later updated to frontotemporal dementia. Progressive and irreversible. The decline audiences had watched for years was never indifference. It was a disease, and Hollywood had kept casting him throughout all of it. Number 10, Roger Moore.
A perfectly adequate watchmaker just down the street. Good God.
You see, by pulling out this button, sir, it turns...
7 James Bond films across 12 years, more than any other actor in franchise history. At his peak in The Spy Who Loved Me, Moore was magnetic, charming, and perfectly matched to the role.
Killing Tibbet was a mistake.
I'm about to make the same mistake twice.
A View to a Kill arrived in 1985. Moore was 57. His co-star Tanya Roberts was 29. The age gap was visible in every scene they shared. The action sequences required camera work specifically designed to hide what the original films had never needed to conceal.
There's James Stock, London Financial Times.
You can tell the police which.
Oh, and you can tell them about...
Moore later admitted, in interviews, that he had been at least 2 Bonds too old by the end. He described watching his own footage back and thinking his face looked like a battered old suitcase. He said it with humor. The honesty behind it was real. The film received the worst critical reception in franchise history.
Python. I discovered he had a crush on me.
Bond had finally met his match. Time, number 9, Val Kilmer.
Oh, come on, John. It's just a word, Jim. Stones changed when they played here. Yeah. Why don't you change your name to,
Iceman in the original Top Gun. Batman in 1995. Jim Morrison in The Doors. One of the most compelling screen presences of his entire generation.
That you long to hear. I know you're deep.
In 2015, Val Kilmer was diagnosed with throat cancer. The treatment saved his life and destroyed his voice. A tracheotomy left him unable to speak above a whisper. When Top Gun, Maverick entered production, director Joseph Kosinski wanted him back as Iceman. The problem was obvious.
What do we have before us? Gotham's finest.
A technology company was brought in. They trained an artificial intelligence system on hours of Kilmer's archived recordings, interviews, and past performances, and rebuilt his pre-cancer voice from scratch. Kilmer heard the result for the first time and reportedly wept. His scenes in Maverick were brief, carefully constructed, but they carried more emotional weight than almost anything else in the film. Val Kilmer passed away on April 1st, 2025. He was 64 years old. His final screen performance required a machine to give him back his own voice. Number 8. Sylvester Stallone. Rocky Balboa, John Rambo. Two of the most physically mythologized characters in cinema history. Characters built entirely on the premise of a body that refuses to be broken. Over 100 million tickets sold across both franchises combined. Stallone returned as Rocky at 60 in 2006 and largely pulled it off. The film was honest about age in ways audiences respected. Then came Rambo in 2008 at 61, still credible, still dangerous on screen. Rambo. Last Blood arrived in 2019. He was 73 years old. The film grossed $44 million worldwide against a franchise that had once commanded hundreds of millions. Critics described the action sequences as unconvincing. The physical mythology that had carried Stallone for 40 years was asking more of audiences than most were willing to give. Rocky deserved a better ending. So did Rambo. Neither got one. Number 7. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Legion is the only future.
I came from a future like that.
In 1984, the Terminator was the most physically terrifying presence in a generation of cinema. Schwarzenegger was 37 years old and matched the role in a way that required no imagination from the audience.
Hey, my turn!
The franchise returned 5 more times over the following 35 years. Each installment worked harder than the last to explain why an unstoppable killing machine from the future looked progressively older. Terminator. Dark Fate arrived in 2019. Schwarzenegger was 72. The screenplay gave the machine a name, Carl, a guilt complex, a family, and curtains he had personally chosen for his living.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I was told that she's here. Could I see her, please?
No, can't see her. She's making a statement.
Digital technology was used to recreate the 1984 version of Schwarzenegger for the film's opening sequence. The contrast between that footage and the 72-year-old standing beside it was impossible to ignore. Dark Fate grossed $261 million against a budget of $185 million before marketing costs. The franchise has not recovered since. Before we continue, which of these moments hit you the hardest? Was there a film where you sat in the cinema and knew something had gone badly wrong? Drop a comment and let us know where you are watching from. Number 6. Eddie Murphy.
Pertaining. I didn't understand what you said. Pertaining, what it's meaning.
Beverly Hills Cop in 1984 grossed $360 million on a budget of just $14 million. Axel Foley was fast, irreverent, and completely unstoppable. One of the most profitable characters in studio history.
Jane, hey, this is your father. Before you hang up, I'm in town.
I've been arrested. Hello?
Beverly Hills Cop. Axel F. arrived on Netflix in 2024. Murphy was 63 years old. The film was more warmly received than most expected. Murphy's charm survived. The comedy landed. But the production had made careful and deliberate choices around its lead. The chases and physical confrontations were handled by younger co-stars. Murphy reacted. They ran. Every action sequence was constructed to put the physical burden somewhere else. It was smart filmmaking. It was also a quiet admission. The version of Axel Foley that audiences fell in love with 40 years ago no longer exists. The film succeeded by hiding that truth as skillfully as it could. Number 5. Michael Keaton. Batman. In 1989, changed what a superhero film could be. Tim Burton's Gothic vision grossed $411 million worldwide and produced a performance so committed that Keaton walked away after the sequel in 1992 entirely on his own terms, without waiting to be replaced.
This might hurt.
31 years later, The Flash brought him back at 71 years old. The production was one of the most troubled in recent DC history. Endless reshoots, mounting delays, serious controversy surrounding its lead actor before a single frame had been shown to the public. The Flash grossed $268 million against a reported production budget of $200 million. A significant financial loss for the studio. Keaton was almost universally praised as the best element in the film. The problem was everything around him. He had once left with his reputation completely intact. The return made things considerably more complicated. Number 4. Carrie Fisher. Princess Leia in 1977. One of the most iconic characters in the history of cinema. Fisher returned for The Force Awakens in 2015 at 59 years old. The reunion was genuinely emotional for fans who had waited 30 years to see her back on screen.
In the shadows from the very beginning. If we want to stop him, we must find him.
She completed filming on The Last Jedi. She never filmed a single scene for The Rise of Skywalker. Carrie Fisher died on December 27, 2016. She was 60 years old. The production of the final film used previously filmed footage and digital reconstruction technology to place her in scenes she had never performed, in a story she never agreed to tell. The decision divided audiences deeply. Some found it moving, others found it profoundly uncomfortable.
I don't want to go without your blessing, but I will. It's what you would do.
An actress used by a franchise after she had no ability to consent to any part of it. Princess Leia deserved a real goodbye. Number 3. Sean Connery. Six James Bond films between 1962 and 1967. One return in Never Say Never Again in 1983 at age 52. Even then, the distance from Dr. No was visible to anyone paying attention. What makes Connery different from almost everyone else on this list is what he chose to do next. He reinvented himself completely. He won his Academy Award for The Untouchables at 57, not trading on nostalgia, not repeating the past, building something new entirely. His final film was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in 2003. He was 73. It was a disaster. He called it the worst professional experience of his life. He retired the following day. Permanently, he never made another film. He passed away on October 31st, 2020 at age 90. Connery did what almost nobody else on this list managed. He stopped before anyone had to stop him. Number 2. Harrison Ford as Han Solo. Harrison Ford as Han Solo. For 20 years, Harrison Ford argued publicly that Han Solo should have been killed inside the original trilogy. The studio refused every time. The Force Awakens brought him back in 2015 at 73 years old.
Star Wars. It's an incredible story of...
The film grossed $2 billion worldwide and gave Solo the death Ford had fought for across 3 decades. At the hands of his own son, on a bridge above a bottomless drop. Ford finally got the ending he had always believed the character deserved, but the film asked audiences to watch a 73-year-old sprint through corridors, climb scaffolding, and move through action sequences that required a generosity the original films had never needed to request. The Millennium Falcon had not aged a single day. The man flying it had aged 30 years. The death of Han Solo was the right ending. The journey to reach it asked more than it should have. Number 1. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981 gave cinema one of its greatest adventure heroes. Ford was 39 years old. The leather jacket fit perfectly. The character arrived fully formed.
Come on, come on.
The trilogy ended in 1989 with The Last Crusade. Ford was 47. The final image of 4 figures riding into a golden sunset was one of the great closing frames of the blockbuster era. Complete, perfect, final. It should have ended there.
Legend says that a crystal skull was stolen from a mythical lost city in the Amazon.
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull arrived in 2008. Ford was 65. The film grossed $790 million and introduced audiences to the refrigerator scene. Indiana Jones surviving a nuclear explosion inside a lead-lined refrigerator. The moment became a permanent shorthand in cinema culture for a franchise that had stopped trusting its own logic. Then came Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in 2023. Ford was 80 years old. The studio spent millions digitally de-aging him for the opening sequence, creating, with technology, the version of Indiana Jones that audiences actually wanted to see, then asking them to accept the real version for the 2 hours that followed. The film opened to $60 million domestically, the lowest debut in franchise history, against a reported production budget of $300 million. Ford delivered the most emotionally honest performance of his entire career inside that film. The script asked him to reckon with age and regret in ways no Indiana Jones story had ever attempted. He gave everything he had, but there is a version of Indiana Jones that ends at a sunset in 1989 and lives in memory exactly as it should. Untouched, undefeated, perfect. Hollywood could not leave it alone, and in coming back twice, proved more clearly than anything else on this list that the industry will always choose one more adventure over a goodbye that was already perfect. Indiana Jones deserved better than the truth the camera eventually told.